Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. Pretty grim rack. Is it bad enough to change? And I don't think it is. I've got verb, which gets rid of V and B, and this rack leave isn't terrible. Well, still a long way from a bingo, but that solitary vowel holds out hope. Jizz is good. Oh wow, fantastic start for opponent. Now, what can I do with this O next to the triple letter square? Well, I've got joint in that spot. Do I have a way of playing off the Z as well? Or getting the Z on that spot? No. But this is pretty handy. 56 points. Yeah. Oh wow. I don't think there are any vowels in this game. Certainly none on my rack. So, what to do here? Well, there are floating vowels, and the Y is a quasi-vowel, so I may not need to change. I have glazy through the A. Doesn't score much, but I think it's better than changing. 74 points each. So, is glazy the best? There's also this floating E, but that doesn't look great. I am looking to play off 4 of the tiles on my rack. I think hanging on to 4 consonants is just asking for this imbalance to continue. Column 12, fairly hot, as is row A, but you really need vowels to take advantage of those. Fantastic, just 22 points for opponent. And he doesn't block glazy. Can I do anything better? Through an I would have visey. Now the Y is a quasi-vowel, so I don't need a vowel on the board necessarily. Vli is good. No, I'm not seeing anything better than glazy. This rack leave's awful, but I am getting 18 points and giving little away. I'm going with this. Well, just the one vowel, so there could be a lot of vowels at the end of the game, which isn't terrible. And the floating E is helpful. So again, I think I'll be playing rather than changing. Close game, just 4 points between us. Opponent on turn. IN takes a G as well as an S. ET takes an A. So I have Nav in row C. Over 20 points, that's quite handy. What else is available? Verbs is quite blocky because there are no 2-letter V words, so we can't get any plays in rows G or I. Okay, so opponent's taken out my nav spot. Wool takes nothing in front. Wag is good. ZA is good. But I don't have any plays in column 12. So do I play through this E? I think I do, and I can play Vend, and this rack leave is really good, goes well with any vowel. Vend dampens the board down, dampens options for opponent, unless he has an S or a U. Pretty dismal score, but hopefully that will pick up. No, not this turn. However, I have an A and a T for getting rid of the Q. Cat and cats are good, so I can play cats in row K. Opponent leads and is on turn. Difficult to infer anything from his previous play of wool. So wag, wig and wog are all good. So row D available for bingos ending with those letters. So is there anywhere else for cat or cats rather than row K? I'm not sure there is. So I could be changing if that's blocked. If I can't get rid of the Q, I could be changing because what I can do is keep ARST, which is a really good 4-letter set. If cats does play, it's quite nice in that it doesn't really provide much to opponent apart from a ladder down to the left. which is fine by me while I'm struggling with tricky racks. And opponent taking a while with this play, so he may be struggling as well, or being spoilt by choice in terms of bingos. The two Vs have really limited the playable places on the board. Fantastic, cats is not blocked. Opponent doesn't provide anywhere better for me. So cats for 35. Just the one vowel. Wow. Sometimes you go through games with and are struggling with 4, 5 and 6 vowels. But this game is the opposite. And how many moves have I had? 5 moves with only one vowel or fewer. So I can't do anything with the X. Close to, well, I would need 2 tiles to play Zbec, X-E-B-E-C, but it's a nice word. The triple letter square above the A of cats is likely to be attractive to opponent. If he doesn't play in that spot, I do have fed for about 30. And at some point, the vowels will have to come out to play. So, is fed better than a play down through that A? I could play craft and fract, which scores a lot less, but leaves a much better rack leave. And if opponent's got vowels, he may be tempted by the X. Opponent leads by 11, so fortunately has not zoomed off into the distance while I've been struggling with these non-bingo-y racks. There are 5 I's to come, and Q takes an I, so row L will be attractive. But opponent may be, well, maybe reluctant to play across from the first column, but has now played, wow, only 14 points, possibly signalling that he has an S rather, to go on the end of quad. Now, this is quite nice in the sense that I have a better option than fed. It scores less, but this rack leave is much better. So, croft for 22. Finally, a rack which looks fairly balanced, but I'm not seeing a bingo with this rack. Certainly not seeing a 7, and very few floaters. There's the C of croft and the X of mix. So, I have Xenic, I have Axenic in column 15. Not so sure about Axenic, but Xenic is good. Well, not Zymic, that's with a Z. And that has been played somewhere. Glazy. Now this hot spot above the A remains available. If the opponent does have the S, well, he may or may not have an S. He could have been playing quad because he had U's and O's on his rack. Now, do I really not have a bingo here? A, E, I are the bingo-y vowels. Wow, opponent doesn't have an S, but he has both blanks. 85 points. Roasted takes a B in front, still one B to come. And opponent leads by 100. Opponent has opened a new bingo lane in row N, which is good. Do I have a bingo ending in C? Don't think so. So the trouble with Xenic is that I'm hanging on to M and Y, which are non-bingo-y, alone and more so together. But I'm scoring 42 points. I'm not opening a new lane because C takes nothing in front. But when you're trailing by 100, you do need to stay in touch. Otherwise, there's the risk of finally having a bingo-y rack and bingoing, but still losing. Now, what about a play in row J? Could this be a place to get rid of M and Y? So both of those can go above the A. All of my vowels can go above the T. So let me see what this scores. I have medic, 34 points, keeping the Y. It would be so nice to get rid of M and Y. Well, I certainly can't place the Y above the A and achieve that. And I don't have to get the Y tripled, I just want to get rid of it, because look at what's left, all bingo-y tiles. So MAD, 15 minutes on my clock, MED, MID. No, I can't get rid of M and Y in that spot. MYC is good. Not seeing anywhere for that. What about a play in row D? So I have cinema, which is wrecking rather. 33 points, that can't be best. Cyme is good, but there's nowhere for it. CYME. What about a play down from the B? I feel there is an MY play. Just playing MY would leave a decent 5-letter set. Is there anywhere for that? Well, only here for 10 points, but it's opening up a really good bingo lane, or a bingo lane in column 2. It's keeping a super rack, but only 10 points. Let's see if Axenic is good. And it is, 45 points. Well, I'm only 43 behind. There are bingo lanes on the board. 37 for opponent. Okay. So, what to do here? I don't draw the B for Broasted. If I do, then I can make a 4-letter play and hopefully open a new lane. So, the Axenic play scored well, but really has been awful. In the sense that I'm really struggling to find anything with this rack. So, what to do? I do have an S, which is good, generally. So I could play Jims and Scar. What about a play down from the Z? Not seeing anything. I don't have to turn over tiles because I trail and all the blanks have gone. 12 minutes on my clock. And I want to preserve the bottom right bingo lane. Car takes an A in front as well as an S, but I don't have one. I don't have a tile for going between W and G. Nothing goes in front of wool. Kudo only takes an S. I trail by 80. I don't see anything onto this C. What about C Blanco? Not seeing anything. Wow, just tricky spot to be in. Still 11 minutes to go and only 28 tiles to come. Just wondering if Crofty is good. It may be good, but it's straying into blocking the bottom of the board. I'm thinking about doing this. Gems for 19 points. Could attract opponent to row H, but only at the expense of him providing floaters. Now I could be swamped with vowels if I do this. I can be even more swamped if I do this, but this is less dangerous for opponent playing in row H. Wow. Okay, I'm going with this. And here we go. Loads of vowels. Wow. Quite a turning point, the Axenic play. Given that I did have some very different options elsewhere on the board. And I haven't drawn the B for Broasted. That isn't going to be a massive score. So how am I going to sort this rack out? I do have an I for Wig. But this is just so non-bingo-y. Opponents played Ale, just getting rid of vowels. Let me check the remaining vowels. 13 out of 28, so fairly balanced rack. E's are good, but not 4 of them. So what do I have? Well, this is really in terms of sorting the rack out. Is Fuji spelt like that? Only 11 points. But it's preserving row N as a bingo lane. What goes to the left of the U? Well, only G and N, low scoring tiles, so I'm not gifting opponents something massive. Let me put this ramp back. Do I have anything in row H? Something U, F. What about a play through the M? And what about Fuji spelt this way? Not good. So I think I'm going to go back to this spelling. Oh wow, I draw the B. Cruel, because I don't have a 4-letter play. Wow. I think the best I can do is ob, and that's keeping 4 vowels. But it's 39 points. Might be worth doing. I have Toby, which plays off 6 tiles, but as before, I'm not really looking to turn over tiles. Opponent playing just vowels. Just thinking about playing ob. I think 39 points is a lot. I'm going to get nothing like that elsewhere. And if I draw a couple of consonants, our opponent's play of idea has taken out row N as a bingo lane. Let me put this back, because what do I have in column 1? Do I have anything ending EO? Or IO? Well, this burns the B. 26 points. I don't like that. I think I am going to go with ob just for the points. It's the only way of staying within a bingo's reach of opponent, and as it stands, there are bingo lanes in columns 1 and 4. I'm going with this. Well, I do draw an N, and I trail by 50. If I play off double E and create a lane, I could have a bingo-y set of tiles. How to do that? Idea'd is good, I think, but I don't have a D. Okay, only one S to come, so I'll leave that alone. There's 8 tiles left. I just want to play off double E and not block any lanes. If I can create a new lane, that's good. So this is playing off 2 tiles. It's not creating a lane. So it's completely dependent on columns 3, 4, and 5. Well, 5 is a dead lane. And row D, of course. I could play double E in column 2, creating a lane in row C, but I think that's just too easy to block. Only one E to come, so double E on my rack, not terrible. 7 minutes on my clock. Is there really no way of creating a lane? Good play by Idea in terms of sorting his rack out and taking out row N. Just wondering if there's a way of creating a 7-letter lane in row L, but I'm not seeing it. Only 12 points, pretty tragic. I'm going with this. And my rack finally looking balanced, but I don't have an S. Do I have anything onto an M? No, I don't think so. What I could do though next turn is peck. 6 tiles left, which creates 2 lanes in columns 13 and 14 with a P and an E. And PH go well together. So it's not quite all over yet. Is there a 7 here? Well, there's no lanes for a 7. I have no vowel for going between W and G. Well, I don't have a 7 ending in I. 6 tiles, how many is the opponent going to leave me with? Look at this, only 4 vowels left. I was expecting a ton of vowels at the end. Well, I think we had a flurry of them, but we're back to a consonant-heavy situation. Yeah, my opponent's played Idea and Agio, so 3 vowels each turn. Possibly still has vowels. He wouldn't have played Agio and kept 3 consonants, I don't think. Now, are there any lanes I've overlooked? Possibly column 13 beginning MY, but that's going to be a tricky one to spot. Just thinking about a 3-letter play in row D, I could play PHI, but P doesn't take an E on the top, so that's not creating a good lane. So at the moment, I'm looking at playing peck. M is not a terrible floater. I have time in that spot. I would have IUM if I drew the U. Now, if opponent's got the S, he could make a 5-letter play ending in S, leaving 1 in the bag, and that would scupper my peck strategy. So have I really considered all lanes? If takes an F as well as an S, but the other F has been played in Croft. Now, opponent has played HM. Interesting, only 1 tile, so he's taken out the M. He's left alone column 3, so he may have the S. But it means my peck strategy remains alive because there are 5 in the bag. This is quite a nice 5-letter set. And opponent only scored 11. Well, I'm only going to score 7, which is even less, but I'm going with this. Wow, not good. I don't draw the S, and I draw the W, which is a non-bingo-y tile, and there are only 3 tiles in the bag. I am 64 points behind opponent, so were I to have a bingo, then I think I may be able to overtake opponent, but I'm just not in that position. Let me consider the floaters. Well, PWH, just not seeing anything. How about the E? And that could be in first, second, or third place. No, not seeing anything there. And remaining tiles pretty bingo-y, so opponent possibly played HM with a view to bingoing himself in column 3. But if he does, he'll be creating an opening for a 9-letter play, so maybe reluctant to do that, because that would win for me. So 6 minutes on my clock, 8 on opponents. Now, fairly near the beginning of the month, so Just an opportunity to say thank you to all the patrons of the channel. Brand new video goes up every first of the month to thank you for your support, and it's always an exciting 5-minute game, so do check that out if you're a patron. And the link to becoming a patron is below this video in the description. And as a patron, you have the opportunity to be my opponent on the main channel, and also access to the full back catalogue of bonus videos. And thank you very much to all of the supporters of the channel, because you do keep it alive. Now, what's opponent going to do? 7 minutes on his clock. And the other announcement is that my videos are now going to be available at 6:45 rather than 7 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So that's just bringing them forward by 15 minutes. So 3 tiles in the bag. What if opponent doesn't empty the bag? I guess I played just my W. And there is a spot for that to the left of the E of Fuji. Is there somewhere else which doesn't block lanes? Possibly AW. Well, that does block a lane, but surely opponent's got the S. Otherwise, he would have had other options. Well, 22 points. He's emptied the bag. Only 4 tiles left. He hasn't creating any new lanes. And that wouldn't avail me much anyway with this rack. So this is a lost game. What can I do to minimise the losing spread? Well, I can play Whiten for 24. Is opponent going out with Dort? Yes, column 2, Dort and At. Does he have an out at the bottom of the board? He does, Dort, D and R. So this is my last play. So I'm looking to score as much as possible, taking into account count back. And whether I'm providing anything new for opponent. Well, Whiten, I think, is taking out a higher scoring spot for opponent. Yeah, I'm not saying anything better than this. What if opponent doesn't spot Dort? Do I have 2 outs with EL? I have LEI and I have Ale, so I'm certainly going out if opponent isn't. And opponent would also have had Daunt, but that's been blocked. Just looking at the board, so many short words, no bingos at all from me, and most of my words were short ones, but games like this happen. So 5 minutes on my clock, so plenty of time to find the best out with EL if opponent doesn't go out, but I'm expecting him to do so. He does have Dort in column 2. What else does he have? Daunt has been blocked. I don't think that has an anagram. Not seeing anything through H, I or T for opponent, or N. Opponent could play done, and opponent goes out. He does find his out. And the final score, 319 for me, 397 for opponent, a winning margin of 78 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. That was brutal. So it was me to go first. And I played Verb, and I still like that, although Bears scores more. It's keeping 4 consonants, and 3 consonants is a lot better. Great start for opponent with a bingo. And now I have joint for 56, which looks fine. No bingo here for opponent, but looks jolly close. Plays tier. My rack is horrendous, and I play glazy, which I think looks fine. Opponent plays wool. And now nav, D13. Interesting. Nav and NY. I'd just seen it blocked in row C, but it plays lower down, but only 15 points. And I play Vend, and I think that is worth it because, well, Cast is a lot better than CDST. Is it 7 points better? Well, CDST, what's that going to be worth? S 10 to 12, T and C both help that. And D drags it back just by dint of the number of consonants. So I think that could be worth maybe plus 5 or 6. And ACST, I think, is really good and is going to be worth north of plus 15. So I think there definitely could be a 7-point difference, and if it's close, then I prefer the move with the better rack leave. Now, great rack for opponent. No bingo. Plays mix. My rack, and I play cats, and that looks fine. Wow, missed bingo for opponent. Plays quad, so let's go back. Played quad from this rack. Did have the blank for making it quads, but could have played D3, underdo and wog. Could also have played G10, obtruded through the B. Both tricky to see. Now, my rack. I play Croft for 22, Carne available for 3 more points. Well, CEN is definitely 3 points better than CF, so I prefer my play. Super bingo by opponent, roasted for 85. A few more points were available. Now, this is the point where I trail by 90. My rack is finally getting close to bingo territory. And I play Axenic, and this seemed to be the source of all future troubles in this game, but you can't make that kind of conclusion because given any play, you can have a run of racks afterwards which don't favour you, so you can't conclude that Axenic is bad. But, Mediacy J6. That, I think, is the play I would have made. It gets rid of M and Y. It is wrecking. Wrecking. However, it does score well and get rid of my non-bingo-y tiles, and it also takes out this hot spot above the A, so I think Mediacy would have been my preference, but I don't think Axenic is terrible. Opponent's rack plays Kudo. And now, I still had hope. I only trail by a bingo, but I've drawn too many big tiles. So I play Gimps here for 24. The only play which scored more was J10 CP. But that's blocking row N, which was a good bingo lane, and not providing anything. So I like my play. Gimps is opening up the top left of the board. Here we go. Opponent, it is with the vowels. Plays Ale. Okay, I have a few as well. H3, FEU. Totally killing the top of the board, so I'm not a fan of that. N4, E-Day. Killing the row N bingo lane. And everything else leaves a ton of vowels, so I like my play. It's slightly off the pace, but I think it increases my chances of winning the game. Opponent still with 6 vowels, plays Idea. Now, I have Ob for 39, and although the rack leave isn't great, I think the score means that this is the best play. Now, opponent close to a bingo, doesn't have one, plays Agio. And look at this, I'm still just 1 bingo behind, but only 8 tiles left, and this rack just isn't close enough. So I play Knee for 12. Wow, and nothing more than 14 available, so I think that's fine. Opponent suddenly short of vowels. Wow, so I had thought that maybe opponent kept 6 bingo-y tiles, but he hasn't. But he does have the S for if, so he doesn't need to worry about blocking column 3. He is blocking column 4, which is another lane. He's already blocked row N, so right now there are no bingo lanes on the board, apart from row D for bingos ending in A or I. So that was a nice play. My rack, and hope is running out for me. I'm still a bingo behind, but there are pretty much no lanes. And this is where I play peck to create lanes. And yeah, here we go with the opponent. He does have a bingo, Tanners, but I wouldn't regard that as a miss because it is placing a tile in the middle of row A, and the only way I can win is with a 9 timer, so I think opponent's play is fine. No bingo here for me. And I play white in for 24, L12. Oh, wow, yeah, Hewn would have been better. Scores 10 more points and 8 more after taking into account count back. Opponent's final rack, he does have the solitary out, but that was unblockable without allowing him to play elsewhere. So, what a game. Absolutely brutal struggle. Rack after rack with only one vowel. And really, my racks never really matured into bingos, but sometimes you just have games like that and you move on to the next one. So, well done once again to my opponent on his victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.